So now that we got the official announcement for A Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K, today I want to talk about the final 10 horror films that we need on 4K. After these, we can be done. Stay tuned. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel. I am Ken, and today, guys, I wanted to talk about 10 horror movies that we need to come to 4K. Now, I've made several videos like this in the past. I think I just made one like this like maybe 6 months ago, but with the announcement of A Nightmare on Elm Street, which I consider to be maybe the last huge horror movie holdout for 4K, we've really gotten lucky, like with a lot of movies, a lot of iconic horror movies. Like I was going through the list of just all the greatest horror films of all time, and most of them have nice 4K editions, or at least slipcover versions, or they at least have 4Ks. A lot of them do at this point. So we are very fortunate that we have 4Ks for a lot of our favorite horror films of all time. But it got me thinking about, if I could only have 10 more 4Ks in the horror genre, what would be the movies that I would want? Because we got A Nightmare on Elm Street, the huge movie that Nightmare on Elm Street is, the huge iconic horror film that Nightmare on Elm Street is. Is there 10 other ones that are like that for me that I need on 4K? I'm not saying just as much, but almost as much as I needed A Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K. Of course, I'm not saying that these are the last 10 that I hope we get on 4K. Like, I'm hoping we get at least 200 or 300 more classic horror films on 4K. But what I want you guys to do, because this is just me, this is just my list, I want you guys to comment down below 5 horror films, 10 horror films, 1 horror film. If you can only have 1 or 10 or 5 horror films on 4K, if that's all we get, what are those horror films? What are the ones that you want the most? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, let's go ahead and get into it, guys. And the first title that we need on 4K, I think everybody can agree with this. I think that everybody would have this one on their list. It's on the TV screen on the back. Iconic horror film, 1986, David Cronenberg's The Fly. We need this on 4K. Without question, do we need The Fly on 4K? This would look so freaking spectacular in 4K. Just David Cronenberg's direction and style, the machine with the glowing lights coming out of it. Just this movie, the makeup effects, some of the greatest of all time. So all that stuff will look so freaking awesome in 4K. The gooey, mushy fly face, just all that stuff. Jeff Goldblum transforming before our very eyes, the body horror, all that stuff will look so great in 4K with that HDR. So I want The Fly in 4K. It's unfortunate that this is 20th Century Studios, which is Disney. I'm just hoping that something happens with this Sony deal and they can license some stuff, or maybe Sony will put this out by itself. Like, I don't need a box set of all the other Fly movies. I really don't. We just need The Fly on 4K. That's what we need. So however that happens, through Disney, through Sony, they give it to Scream Factory to put out on 4K or something like that. I just want this movie. It's a classic horror film. It deserves the 4K treatment. It's one of the last big holdouts, in my opinion. And yeah, The Fly, guys. Yeah, I know everybody's going to have this one in the comments section, though. So that's why I talked about it first. Another one that I'm sure that a lot of people will have on their list as well is another iconic horror film. We just got a prequel to this movie just a couple of months ago, and that is The Omen, directed by Richard Donner. This is from, I think this is from 1976. Yeah, this is from 1976 is when this, for some reason, whenever I think of The Omen, I always think of the 60s. I always think of this movie as a 60s horror film, and it's not. It's from the 70s. But again, I'm not like, I've said this before, I'm not the biggest fan of The Omen. I'm really not. But also, maybe it's a movie that I need to give another chance to. But I'll be honest, like, I've been trying. Like, my entire life, I've been trying to love The Omen. This is my mom's favorite horror film. So I remember watching this as a kid and being disappointed, especially after I just got done watching The Exorcist, and that's an all-timer. That's been one of my favorites for the longest time. And, you know, it's not exactly the same, but it's supernatural, religious, possession type horror stuff. I've watched this a number of times over the years, and I want to love it. I really want to love it, but I just can't love it. I appreciate it, though. It is a classic horror film. We've got an Amityville Horror on 4K. We've gotten The Exorcist on 4K. And we need The Omen on 4K. But again, going back to The Fly, the main problem. This is 20th Century Studios. 20th Century Studios with the Omen, but I got hope that maybe because I think that the first Omen, the prequel, is supposed to be the first title that Disney puts out through Sony. So I'm hoping, I don't think we're going to get an announcement anytime soon, but I'm hoping that we get that on physical media. Maybe it sells well, and then Disney sees the power of the Omen through 20th Century Studios and through Sony. And maybe they schedule a 4K for this one. Maybe it doesn't come out this Halloween or this October, but maybe it comes out October of 2025. Or maybe 2026 to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the film. But I just, I know there's a lot of fans of this movie. It's an iconic horror film, and I know a lot of people would want this on 4K. So I think this is one that we definitely need. It's a big one that we need on 4K for sure. And one that I've got here wrote down because I don't actually have this in the collection because I think the Blu-ray is going for like $200 or something. And I think the DVD's pretty expensive as well, but that's Peter Jackson's Dead Alive. And there are rumors, very heavy rumors, that Peter Jackson is working on a 4K restoration of Dead Alive, and also some of his other films like Meet the Feebles and Bad Taste. There are rumors that he is working on these movies to come to 4K. Now, who would they be put out through? I don't know. It'd be cool if Vinegar Syndrome did some of them. If, Arrow Video did some of them. A nice big chunky box release of Dead Alive would be fantastic for sure. But I'm saying all this, this is the only movie in this list that I haven't seen. I have not seen Dead Alive, mostly because it's not really accessible on a lot of streaming services. I think I saw it was available to rent on Amazon. That's pretty much it. And also, the Blu-ray is very expensive. I'm not buying that Blu-ray, and I've been looking for it, like trying to find it out in like thrifting stores and stuff, but I can't find it. So I've heard about this movie. I feel like I've heard about this movie probably for the past 20 years, and I know it's an iconic horror film that a lot of people want to come to 4K because of its amazing like practical effects and makeup effects, and it's just grotesque visuals. I think a lot of people said this would look great in 4K, so I'm hoping we get it, and I think it's one of the big horror films that would really pop the physical media community for sure if it got announced for 4K. So Dead Alive needs to come on 4K for sure. And next up, guys, speaking of great grotesque visuals and makeup effects, we've got ReAnimator, Stuart Gordon's ReAnimator. I don't know why we don't have ReAnimator on 4K. If somebody can maybe enlighten me on that in the comment section, because this one feels like a no-brainer. Arrow put this one out, I think in like 2018 or something on Blu-ray, and I don't know if they lost the rights or if it's just hard to do now, or maybe nobody wants to do the scan. I don't know, because we got Stuart Gordon's From Beyond, and I love that movie, but like ReAnimator's the classic Stuart Gordon movie. Like, this is his most popular film. Everybody loves ReAnimator. It's a cult classic for sure. And this movie would look freaking fantastic on 4K. It just would. All the grains and the zombie makeup effects and all the gore in this film, all that stuff would look so freaking awesome in 4K. And Barbara Crampton naked in 4K. We need that as well. But yeah, guys, this is one I just don't get. Like, I don't get why Arrow Video wouldn't have done a 4K of this by now. This one just feels like a no-brainer. Like, this one would sell very well. So that tells me there has to be some kind of a rights issue with this. There has to be some kind of a rights issue with ReAnimator. But we need it on 4K nonetheless, so somebody figure it out. This is a big cult classic horror film from the 80s, and we need it on 4K. So that's my fourth pick. And my next pick, I'll say Trick or Treats. Of course. Like, this is a iconic horror film at this point in time. I feel like we're getting ready to get a sequel, Trick or Treat 2. So I feel like we will get this one on 4K. Now, will Scream Factory do it because they did the Blu-ray release not too long ago? Will they be the ones to do it? Do they still have the rights, or would they put this out through other means? Because I think this is a Legendary Pictures, which is through Warner Brothers, I believe. So it's possible that Warner Brothers could do this on 4K with a nice steelbook or something when they do the sequel to the movie. But, I would like to see Scream Factory get this one and put this one out on 4K, have it be a nice October release for them. But yeah, Trick or Treat. I don't even have the Scream Factory. I have this lenticular cover right here I got at Best Buy. But this is definitely, like, at this point in time, guys, this movie's almost 20 years old. I would say it's an iconic horror film at this point in time, an iconic modern horror film directed by Michael Dougherty, anthology horror film, and the visuals in this movie are insane, and with HDR and Dolby Vision, like, they would look so freaking fantastic. So, and all this movie takes place at night, so it would look freaking awesome. All the Halloween lights, the Halloween costumes, just the setting, the aesthetic, all that stuff would look great in 4K. So Trick or Treat, we absolutely need on 4K. The Conjuring, directed by James Wan. Where is this at? How do we get Insidious on 4K before we get The Conjuring on 4K? What is Warner Brothers thinking? Because they're all over the Conjureverse. They're putting out The Nun and The Nun 2, and they got La Llorona, and they got The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. That has a 4K. Why did they not do The Conjuring? And I didn't bring it over here, but The Conjuring 2 needs a 4K as well. Why did they do The Conjuring 3 on 4K and then not at the very same time do both the first ones on 4K to coincide with that release and then do a nice box set of all of them? Like, why wouldn't you do that? I just don't get it. The Annabelle films as well, I'm surprised they haven't done 4Ks of. I don't need 4Ks of the Annabelle films, but I'm sure somebody would buy them. I mean, this is a big horror franchise. They would buy this on 4K. So The Conjuring, we need on 4K. And this one in particular, it's in the same vein as like the Amityville Horror. Like, it just feels like this movie came out 2013, wasn't too long ago. It's over 10 years now, though. So time is moving quick, guys. We are aging at a rapid rate. I don't want to get morbid, though. But The Conjuring is one of those movies that in 50 years, we'll still be talking about it in the same way that we're talking about Amityville Horror now. So it feels of that classic era, even though it is modern. But it would look so freaking fantastic in 4K. It absolutely would. So I would love to see The Conjuring on 4K as well. This is one that I feel like a lot of people will be with me on, and that's The Descent. And this one I think came out in 2005 or 2006. I remember seeing this in the theaters. My wife and we loved it. I bought it on DVD. I watched it all the time at home when I got it. I just got this Blu-ray though, like fairly recently, so I don't even know if I've watched this on Blu-ray yet. Let me open this up. Oh, we got some nice disc art right there. Now it's saying on the side that this is Lionsgate. So it's possible maybe we could get a nice steelbook of this, a Lionsgate steelbook on 4K. I think that would be pretty cool. But this movie in the caves, all the blood that's in this film, like all that stuff would look great in HDR. So I think this would be a great look in 4K. All the creatures down there would look great in 4K as well. I just think that dark movies that take place like in dark areas, like always look great in 4K with that contrast and adds so much depth. So I want to see this movie in 4K. It's directed by Neil Marshall, who recently had a Second Sight release of Dog Soldiers. So I would love it if Second Sight did a 4K release of The Descent, to be honest. But either way, I feel like this is a pretty popular horror film, and a lot of people will be with me on wanting this one to 4K as well. All right, so we got 3 more. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring it up, guys. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. I'm going to, address the elephant in the room. Why the hell do we not have From Dusk Till Dawn on 4K? What is going on? This thing was announced, supposed to come out 2021, and it got pulled off the slate. The Faculty also. I don't have The Faculty in this stack because at least we saw it. We saw the image, the 4K banner, The Faculty, the Scream Factory. Like, we saw it was coming. I think it'll still come, probably sometime at the end of this year. But From Dusk Till Dawn, we never saw an image. We never saw a 4K slipcover, anything like that. It was put up. Supposed to come out 2021. 3 years later, nothing. It got pulled off. We don't know what the hell's going on with From Dusk Till Dawn. I want it on 4K. This is a Quentin Tarantino written, Robert Rodriguez directed film with tons of style, tons of great visuals, like the titty twister, guys, the nightclub, the bar in 4K, Salma Hayek with the snake in 4K. Can you picture it yet? We need it. Damn it, we need From Dusk Till Dawn on 4K. But yeah, all the vampires and the creatures and all that stuff would look all so good, all so great in 4K, and we need it. I'm so sad that we did not get this in 4K back in 2021 because I didn't buy this Blu-ray. Somebody finally sent this one to me because I was being stubborn. I wouldn't buy it. I still got the damn movie on VHS tape because I wore that sucker out when I was a kid. And I think I bought it on DVD at some point, but I gave away a lot of my DVDs a few years ago. But I wouldn't buy the Blu-ray because I thought the 4K was coming, and then it didn't come. And then I was stubborn. I said I wouldn't buy this because the 4K is coming. It just has to, and it still hasn't come. So I just went ahead and got this. Somebody sent this to me, so I got From Dusk Till Dawn on Blu-ray. And look, if I got to watch it on Blu-ray from here on out, if we don't get a 4K, it's fine. But I really want a 4K From Dusk Till Dawn. I just do. All right, we got 2 left. This is a very, I don't know if a lot of people would agree with me on this, but this movie is so close to my heart. and it was literally the first horror film I ever saw when I was a kid. Now, it's a made-for-TV film, but we've gotten those recently, like Duel on 4K. Like, just because it's made for TV doesn't mean it wasn't shot on film and it still wouldn't look great in 4K. But I love this movie, and it is my favorite adaptation of this classic Stephen King novel, It, 1990. Like, I want It 1990 so bad on 4K. Like, Tim Curry, like the clown makeup that he wears in this movie, his clown suit, all that stuff will look so fantastic in 4K. Like, I like the new It's. I do. They're modern movies. They look good in 4K as well, but go back and remaster this one in 4K. I beg you. I mean, I know it's a 4-hour movie, so it would take a lot of work to do, but I think it would sell. Like, I think a lot of people would come out and buy this one because, you know, a lot of people like those modern It movies. I like them as well, but I don't think that any interpretation of Pennywise is going to be as iconic as Tim Curry. And we need him immortalized in 4K with the HDR. And this movie has tons of great visuals, tons of great set piece moments that I think would look phenomenal in 4K. I just love everything about this movie. I want it in 4K. I thought there was a rumor to come that this was coming to 4K at some point, and then it just kind of got wiped off the slate. But I don't know who would do this. You know, Scream Factory, maybe, possibly. I mean, they just did the Shining, you know, stuff. I'm hoping they do Tommyknockers at some point. I would like to see Tommyknockers on Blu-ray, but you know, somebody just needs to do It on 4K. I want It on 4K. I don't care who it is. Arrow Video. I mean, Warner Brothers, you know, put this out. Like, Warner Brothers can do it. I don't care. Just do a good job with it. But I don't know. This is the one I feel like we probably won't get just because of the length of the film, and it would be a lot of work to get done. But I would love it, and I think a lot of people would love it too. Let me know if you're with me about It 1990 coming to 4K. And my last pick, guys, and we can go back and forth on whether or not this is a horror film or not, but the kid sees freaking ghosts, okay? And there's a lot of horrific images in the film, so I consider The Sixth Sense to be a horror film. This is M. Night Shyamalan's second film, but his first big film. And we need this one on 4K. We really do. It will look fantastic in 4K. And look, I'm seeing on the front right here, the #1 thriller of all time. So I'm sure there's going to be a debate on whether or not this is, you know, a horror film actually, but I consider it to be a horror film because the kid sees freaking dead people. That's horrific, right? Now, if we're talking M. Night Shyamalan movies I want the most on 4K, it would probably be Signs, but I don't actually consider Signs to be a horror film, even though there are horrific elements in Signs as well, but I think that's more sci-fi. That's more end of the world, alien invasion type movie. I don't consider that a horror film, but I do consider The Sixth Sense a horror film. But this is Hollywood Pictures, which is owned by Disney. So it's up to Disney, it's up to Sony for us to get The Sixth Sense. I just don't know why they wouldn't do this one. They did Unbreakable. I know that that was already being worked on, 20th Century Studios, before, you know, the Disney takeover. But, you know, they did that one. So I think that they should do The Sixth Sense on 4K. I really do. And I think it would look great on 4K. So there you have it, guys. That's my movies. I've got 9 here to show you all. And then we got Dead Alive, which I also talked about. But let me know if you agree in the comment section. I think I got some good picks. I really do. I think that if I've only got 10 more picks to come to 4K, I think I picked some solid ones. Now, yes, there's a bunch that we need. You know, I didn't go into the sequels, like we're getting Nightmare on Elm Street. I would love Dream Warriors and Dream Master. I want all the Friday the 13th on 4K, but I didn't want to go into sequel territory because there's a lot of those that we would need 4Ks for. I wanted to focus on stuff that we haven't gotten in their respected franchises. So, but all right, guys, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos and follow me on all of my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time. And also, guys, I just want to say that the Blu-ray curse is 100% a thing. So what I'm going to do is link all of these down below in the description. All of these Blu-rays, I'll leave Amazon links down below in the description, so you guys can maybe buy. If you want to. If you don't have these in your collection, maybe buy these on Blu-ray if you can afford it. And I think if enough people buy these on Blu-ray, we might get a 4K. We might will it into existence by buying the Blu-ray. It's just something to think about. Something to maybe do. You don't have to do it, but I would. I'll link them down below. See you guys later.